Hey guys, how we doing?
Morning, everybody.
Joe here.
Kevin.
Season 5 of Mad Men has been very interesting so far. I think to say the least.
Yeah, we had a two-part premiere that was fantastic.
Yep.
And moving forward, I feel like this is going to be a big transitional season, because
Seems that way, yeah.
this feels like Sterling Cooper is struggling, but really trying to modernize. Right between trying to get the Rolling Stones to do a Heinz
A
commercial,
beans commercial.
right?
With the
Um,
Stones to sell some beans.
and we knew that was never going to happen. Um, and hiring Ginsburg,
Yeah.
which I'm really
Fan favorite,
fascinated by.
apparently. A lot of you guys,
Really?
a lot of you guys are excited about Ginsburg being here.
Well, it's definitely a different energy.
Yeah.
I feel like they've hired like an artist. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Um,
Struggling for sure.
yeah, but definitely someone who thinks more like an artist than an ad man.
Yeah.
You know,
It's all of his ads. They looked really interesting.
That's the thing, right? It was stuff that was outside the norm of Sterling Cooper.
Yeah.
You know, do you remember the episode a couple seasons back with the where they were really fascinated by the lemon ad for Volkswagen?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It kind of feels like they're finally getting to that, like, we're kind of going to go and step out of our buy this, kind of straightforward advertising. Sure. Sometimes a joke, like Don shooting down the old Samsonite commercial with Joe Namath.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
a young punk kid hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it might be time to actually step into the 60s.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of what Ginsburg signals. I do think he's going to be an important character because in his first episode we got some of his home life with his dad, which is atypical for someone who's kind of breeze in and breeze out, right?
It sets him up. It sets him up as like a regular on the show, right?
Absolutely, right.
You kind of peel back the curtain a little
bit. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of when we did that with Peggy, right? Peggy.
Oh yeah.
Peggy was someone early on that we actually got some of her home life, and it was really different, obviously, than Dawn's and Rogers and Pete's.
Well, we might have a rivalry between Ginsburg and Peggy, really. I mean, because she's the only one that's not really happy that he's there. Everybody else seems to be kind of excited, but at the same time, she seems a little jealous, and if not confrontational towards him.
Well, I didn't get that sense. I kind of got the sense that he is a handful. And he definitely let his guard down and kind of let loose with her.
Okay.
She wanted him hired. It was Stan who was like, toss his to the bottom and grab somebody else. And she's like, no, this guy's actually got talent.
And then she met him, and it was a little like, whoa.
Yeah, but she still helped him out in his interview with Dawn. She wants him there.
Yeah.
She could have easily done what Stan said. It's like, don't bring someone who's got actual talent because they're a threat.
Didn't she have that conversation with Roger where he said that, like, don't worry, nothing's gonna happen to your job? He's like, I got you.
Well, I think it was more along the lines of,
if it doesn't pan out.
Right, but I felt like it was more like, hire him. I'll deal with Dawn, thinking you're an idiot.
Gotcha.
I think it was just selling Dawn, not protecting Peggy.
I thought it was.
I could be wrong.
Or something.
I could have been wrong. We obviously, different strokes for different folks on interpretation.
Sure.
But I kind of felt like it was more like Peggy wanted to hire him. He's obviously got talent. He's a different voice than Peggy.
Mm-hmm.
Stan recognized the fact that he had talent immediately too.
Mm-hmm.
Don obviously saw it when he went through his book, but
Don's not.
But he's just a lot. And I think that was Peggy's concern, right? She's the one who said, when you're going with Don, do not act like this.
Yeah.
Tamp it down. And he did it great. And she was like,
he kind of nailed it.
Yeah, he did. And she was like, what was that? And he's like, you said tamp it down. I tamped it down.
I like to pulling his resume out of his
sleeve, of course. So I think he's a fascinating character, but I do think Peggy wants him there. Now, is he a threat to her down the road? I think in terms of adoration and attention, maybe, but I don't feel like there's anything he could do to jeopardize Peggy's job.
No, she's good,
right?
And Don's got her, Roger's got her.
Yeah, she's not going anywhere. Like when they blew up the firm, they called. She was one of the first calls.
Yes.
When they started laying people off, Don said, "You tell me who you need," because she was never on the chopping block.
Yeah,
Peggy's not going anywhere unless she wants to.
And that makes me happy to know that at least.
Yeah, well, she's super talented for sure.
Before we talk about Betty, real quick, I like what you said about like they need to step into the 60s a little bit because Don kind of found the lemon ad, right? That was kind of like his big find, or like it was his idea.
No, it was another company.
But he found the ad. He was like, "That's a good ad." He was like, "I like this a lot."
Well, he saw it on the train, but
Yeah.
when he got to work, every guy there was talking about it. Like it was the whole conversation. Like he didn't really find it. Everyone in the office did.
But I think he liked it, right?
No, he liked it, but everyone did. That was why they were talking about it. Like,
the thing is,
we're all
with that
talking about
is
it.
like it was a very like modern, if not contemporary.
It was very
Don's
much.
whole thing is nostalgia.
It is.
So they're
right?
trying to sell the past, but
That's
they need to
true.
move in the forward, in
Yeah,
the future. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's true. You're right. Because remember, the carousel, Don is all about nostalgia.
He loves it. So
Yeah.
so how are they going to step into the future when Don is still hung up on the past? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a fun dynamic.
Especially when Don doesn't have a past. He's hung up on nostalgia, but his own past is pure garbage.
He's getting one though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as he gets older, man, like he's leaving behind bodies.
No, he is.
He's burned a lot of bridges.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And now he's remarried and already not happy with the fact that his wife is more of an individual than he wants in a wife.
Sure.
Because again, it's the times are a changing. Don, you married a woman in her mid-20s in the 60s, as someone who wants her own career, who wants to kind of be a modern woman.
Yeah.
And that's not Don.
It's not him at all.
Don wants the quiet, acquiescent housewife.
He does
to take care of his kids.
I don't think
and be pretty.
I don't think he misses Betty.
I don't
really.
either.
I think he misses what they had. I think he's not hurt, but he's a little ashamed of what happened, or the fact that he got caught, maybe.
Maybe.
But definitely Betty. She still goes to Don first for her problems. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
he was the first person she called when she found out about her the benign tumor.
Well, he tried to call, but he tried to call Henry, but Henry wasn't available.
Okay. Well, I remember her coming to the house, and the first person she called was Don.
She did, but she'd already tried to call Henry.
Or
Couldn't get a hold of him.
Gotcha.
So the next option was Don, which obviously upset Henry.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, Henry was a little disappointing there at the end when Don called to check up on her.
Yeah. But going forward, I mean, like, I'm just stoked that we actually have an interesting Betty storyline now. Because last season she like was MIA basically.
Well, since actually this season, right? Since like the background check and how she kind of covered for Don and didn't have to, which was antithetical to her whole like "I wish him dead" that she yelled out the one time. She helped him out. I think Betty might finally be growing up on her own. I don't think that Henry's making her. I'm not going to give Henry the credit for that.
Yeah.
Henry stands up to her a little bit, but so did Don.
He holds her accountable.
Yeah.
He's more compassionate than Don was, though.
Way more compassionate than Don. But I really feel like that the changes that Betty's kind of making that seem to be positive changes, she's doing all on her own,
which is a good thing.
I think she's being reflective for the first time on the show and thoughtful. And and just really kind of considering how her life affects other people more.
I guess when you're facing the possibility of dying, it kind of opens up your mind a little bit.
But I mean, sure. But I mean, like the government agents were before that, and she was there to protect Dawn and didn't have to, and it put her at risk. She lied to FBI agents.
It did. I want to credit the therapy for that. Actually, her talking to the therapist for a while
probably does help. That actually, even though it's not really her therapist, which is kind of funny, but yeah,
just tricked into it.
All right, do want to go ahead and welcome because we're running along here. Sorry, guys. Demi Sam, Ethan Opus, and Dane Harrison. Welcome, guys. We're glad you're here with us on our Patreon page.
We really are. And if you guys are watching us on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel.
Hello.
If you mind hitting the like button for us, leave us a comment down below, and please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on the new content we have coming your way.
If you'd like to see a full reaction to this and everything else we've watched or watching, please check out a link in the description below to that Patreon page. You'll find all kinds of stuff there. We're going to be doing every single episode of Mad Men, along with plenty other series that we've got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, guys, we talked too long again. Trying. Someone's like, "You guys talked a little long on the last one." I'm like, "We did. I'm sorry. I apologize." All right, we're gonna go and start here on Patreon, guys. Episode 4 here in 3, 2, 1.
You look terrible.
I still got it.
Yeah.
Going out.
So am I. Thank you. My God, Dawn.
Oh, she doesn't know this is his wife because she's standing on the other side.
Oh. Nice to meet you.
Yes, you as well.
Get away from him.
I'd hit the next button and jump out. Like, gotta go. I'll take the stairs.
Yeah. I mean, she knows he's a womanizer. I mean,
what? I worked with her 6 years ago. We're in Midtown. I'm gonna run into people.
You know, there are some parts of town where we can run into some people I worked with.
Okay, that's a little bit of petty jealousy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be irritated too, but that one wasn't actually his fault.
Not his fault.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm late. Megan, got some pictures.
this infatuation with true crime is.
I don't think I'd want to look at him.
I wouldn't either.
And I'll see you later.
Like this
Sex
guy.
murders in Chicago, the student nurses.
Really?
Take it.
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
Yeah, not for me.
I'm kind of with him on that. I don't think I'd be wanting to see
I
that.
like true crime as much as the next person, but I don't want to actually see the real
See
victims.
yeah. They're not entertainment. They're human beings.
Yeah.
You know.
To start with him seeing his son for the first time. He'll know how to do that.
But if he knows it's not his, he looks at it and he's like, "That's not my baby."
I think Roger was right. I think people willingly don't do the math because sitting down and puzzling it out is more horrible.
Yeah. Chibi. That's funny.
I still hate him. I haven't seen
yeah.
him for maybe a dozen episodes,
His
and I still
face
hate
is
this
just so
guy.
punchable.
I know. I think he's a horrible person.
Yeah.
Jesus, is that him?
No, it's somebody else's baby. Well, actually, I guess it is, but
Maybe somebody else's baby. Yeah.
And that kind of careless appetite, you can't blame that on Betty.
She's got a really good point.
Megan's great.
She's young, but she's not stupid.
No, she's not at all.
Gail, is there a chance you could pick up more beer?
Of course. I wanted to get the afternoon paper anyway.
How would you feel sending your mother-in-law to buy you beer? I don't know. I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah. Some guys would be like, "I feel so powerful."
Right. I am the king of my castle.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something he needs to tell her. That felt like we would have a talk.
Yeah.
Right?
It didn't seem like a round two kind of thing.
No.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah. That felt like there was something heavy there.
Yeah.
I have to go back.
I know, for another 40 days.
No. For a year.
What?
He re-enlisted.
10 days together. Let's not waste it.
I feel like he
I need
signed
to
up for
store
that.
up as much of you as possible.
And he's not telling her that. My guess.
So either he signed up again. Could they just make him re-enlist again?
I don't think
Because
so.
the draft was a thing, but
Right.
if you've
But
already served,
I don't think.
served,
Yeah,
right?
I don't think they make you do multiple. I'm not a
I don't know either,
historian.
yeah. Let us
right
know.
on that, but I don't think they make you go 2 straight years. I don't think they do
God,
that. Yeah. I think people can volunteer for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's sick. I don't know. I never understood why summer colds are so much worse. You know,
They are though, aren't they?
they're aggressive. Whoa!
I have some bad news for you. You can either take the steps or you can go off the balcony because if you
Forceful.
It's like, yeah, my house.
Yeah. Megan's gonna be livid.
Yeah.
It was just sex. It doesn't mean anything.
I'm sorry. I gotta lie down.
Yeah.
How recent was that?
He said 6 years.
I know, but why is she there?
She saw him. Thought he would be interested. That is very, very bold, though.
Yeah.
When she just met his wife this morning. It must be a different time the way people are talking. I mean, I know we're gross now about, real crime and stuff, but
It's everywhere now.
yeah.
It's scandalous. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. It's just gross the way people are like so titillated by
over
it.
somebody's
Yes.
death.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of him.
He did his time. You've got to talk him out of it.
Mom, I don't want your grandson hearing
He did volunteer.
He did.
Is some congressman going to talk him out of going back?
I don't understand.
I'm putting a moratorium on this conversation. Now, we're either
He volunteered.
Yeah,
His
he
parents
definitely
know.
did.
or we can all go home.
He didn't tell you about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a dinner. Come on, man. You're gonna talk about this at dinner?
Yeah.
You volunteered?
I'd be mad too.
You're home.
You're mumbling.
Oh my god.
Well, this didn't take long.
I hate him, man. God dang it, Don. I hate him. He's the worst. Makes me so mad. He's got the best wife ever. Like Megan's the best, and
It's not about her.
she's already jealous.
Right. He's just broken.
You were saying something in the taxi about Dawn, and I cut you off.
There's a possibility he's hallucinating too.
Oh, you think
Because
so?
it's pretty late. Megan's not still at work, but she's not at home.
He's having like a dream or something, or
Maybe.
he actually is conscious. It's just his pillow or something.
Or her.
Yeah. I think
It'd be
is like,
really weird if it's this lady that keeps coming back in.
It would be very strange.
and I was discovered. Like Esther Budget.
He's hallucinating. It's like the temptation coming back.
Right? Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
His natural self.
Yeah.
Stop it!
Gail, out! Take him out of here!
Wow.
Give me some beer.
You can't make a decision like that without me, and you have never
I
understood.
agree with that.
Soldiers wanted to come home from World War II also.
Yeah.
I've got my orders. You've got yours.
Whoa.
Once again, Greg is just the worst.
Where are you going?
To meet the boys for a drink.
I kind of feel bad for Joan's mom because she's just being spoken to in a certain type of way.
Well, I also feel like there's different generations, you know?
Yeah. She's used to it.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but yeah.
Right.
I have to get out of here. Hotel next time?
No, next time.
Where is Megan?
Yeah, this feels like it's gotten late at night. Maybe she had plans. I don't know. We don't know about. Yeah.
You loved it. And you'll love it again because you're a sick.
Oh. Okay, Don, stop.
I feel like this is not real.
He's hallucinating for sure. Don,
There's no way
Don killed a person.
somebody,
Yeah. Okay, this is all a fever dream.
Could you imagine? If this show goes this route, I couldn't believe that. Also,
There's no way. Yeah, he's dreaming. He's crawling back into bed to go to sleep.
I don't know.
No, there's no way. You don't kill somebody and just go to bed. Shove them under your bed and go to bed.
Sorry. Handle a lot of
There's
problems.
there's 0% chance that happened.
How are you feeling?
Weird.
A weird night, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right,
Good. Thank
yeah,
God.
for sure.
I was gonna say, could you imagine
If every flaw that Dawn has, I'm going to murder a woman because she's being too aggressive with me, is not on the list.
But we know that seed is still there.
Oh, for sure. I think that's what the whole dream was about, for sure.
No matter how hard he can try to kill it,
Yeah,
it's still there.
he is who he is.
Good writing.
Oh,
my
for
God.
sure. That's a great way to show it, isn't it? He gets sick, and the mental guard kind of comes down.
This episode's been very macabre. Have you noticed that?
For sure, yeah,
I like the inspiration behind it. It's really good.
yeah.
He slept a long time. He was awake and went back to bed already.
I barely slept.
I hate you, Greg. I hate you.
Yeah,
Go back to Vietnam.
he's just selfish.
I want you to go and never come back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're not a good man.
yeah.
You never were.
Yep.
Even before we were married, and you know what I'm talking about.
Heck yeah.
They finally addressed
Finally
it.
addressed
Thank
it. Yeah,
That was like season 3.
yeah. I ain't forgiving him for that either.
No.
Every time I see his stupid face, that's all I think about.
Yeah. Bye, Greg.
Yeah. You shall not be missed. Oh. That doesn't seem safe.
Yeah, I know.
Like-
Right. Yeah.
like, grandma's asleep right
Yeah,
next to you.
yeah,
Just roll over.
The tiny bed.
Right.
That's a great shot.
It is. How much longer do you think Joan's mom sticks around?
I think for a while.
Do you think so?
Do you think that last shot was like symbolic of something? Like, because it's like you have the older one on the right, and then you have Joan obviously on the left, and then
Possibly.
like it's like generations,
Yeah, or just like the idea that there's with Greg Dawn, the big relationship there is Joan and her mom,
Yeah.
and the baby's kind of in between.
Gotcha.
My guess. I mean,
No,
who
it could be,
knows?
it's all up for interpretation, I guess. But
Right.
that was a very good shot.
It was a cool shot for sure.
Everything in the show is seemingly intentional, especially in the big
always.
shots
Yeah,
stage.
yeah. There's nothing accidental on this show or casual.
This episode was morbid, man.
It was pretty morbid.
I enjoyed it in a dark kind of way, I guess, because it was all essentially about murder to a certain extent.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
There's that whole thing of the murders hanging over. I mean, it was a great way to start the episode.
Yeah.
With the fact that most of the people at the office, except for Ginsburg, were really kind of fascinated and entertained by it.
Yeah.
Which is gross. It really is. And I know it's a common thing. Like, it doesn't say these are terrible people. It's
It
a thing
definitely
people do.
It didn't lessen in popularity at all. I mean, now you turn on
Right.
A&E and it's like there's like 30 true crime shows.
Yeah. How often are serial killers kind of romanticized in pop culture? All the time.
Shout out to David Fincher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there it was definitely a more morbid episode.
Yeah.
And obviously that becomes very clear with Dawn's
Revelation at the end there.
right.
His fever dream he had.
Right. He's still the same guy that's symbolically trying to kill it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, even the shot, I thought so. Looking back on it now that we know it's a dream, I mean, even her like putting her finger in his mouth, it's like re-entering him.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's like obviously like it really starts in the elevator, right?
Yeah.
Then she puts it in his head with, "You were this way for so long."
Right. And
It's not Betty's fault. It was your fault. You
well, yeah. I mean, it was really smart the way they did that because she was like, where he was like, I was unhappy, with Betty, and like, well, you were doing it after Betty too.
unhappy,
Yeah. You were a womanizer with Betty, and you're a womanizer after Betty. So you can't blame Betty. That's who you are wired to be.
Yeah.
And we kind of see it there. And that dream was great to show that he's fighting it. He is. He doesn't want to be that guy anymore.
Yeah.
But he's still in the dream anyway. He still does.
Do you think she actually showed up at the apartment in the first place? Then?
No, I don't think any of
You
that.
don't think she was there at all? Yeah, because
You're right. She said, "I've been here the whole time." I think he got home. He flopped down in bed, and that was kind of it. I don't think she was ever there.
It was just the elevator. Yeah.
Right. My guess.
I would assume so too. I mean, like, it's got to be the case.
Sure.
So now I just think it's a matter of time.
I do too. I really do too.
Until he cheats.
He's just not a happy guy.
He's not,
or a healthy guy.
He's not, and I don't want to say it's not going to be somebody in The Office because honestly, it could be anybody.
Sure, I would say no on The Office.
I would normally say the same thing, but I think it's going to be any sort of temptation.
Sure,
and any woman that gives him a passing glance that he can,
right. But
attack.
With Megan working in The Office, I think Don's an idiot, but he's not that level of an idiot.
Sure.
He wasn't hooking up with their neighbors, when he was with Peggy, because they all know each other.
Yeah.
It was only going to be really people that didn't associate with Peggy at all.
So he's
Betty at all.
Reset.
Peggy and Betty, those names,
they're similar.
I jumble them in my head because they're too close.
I do too sometimes. But yeah, that's tough because Megan is honestly too good for him.
Megan's great.
It's funny how we kind of came around on it. Like at the end of the last season, we were like, "This is so stupid," and then like,
well, no, it's still stupid.
It is stupid, but like for the situation, it's working out pretty good. She's good with the kids. She's caring, and like she wants the best for them.
She always was, but we just you knew from the minute that he said, "Will you marry me?" It's like this isn't going to work.
No,
there's like piles of problems,
and strictly because of him.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even the age thing. I mean, like the age thing is, you can kind of see the age gap, especially in the first two episodes.
Sure.
The Zoomy
right
performance and like just how vibrant and like youthful and just how much fun she really is.
Right.
Don's just not that guy.
Well, Don wants a slave wife.
Yeah,
and she's clearly not that. This has you can set an egg timer to how long this relationship's going to last. It's not going to last.
It's not. Do you think it'll go on for several seasons? Or do you think it's like this is like it?
I feel like if it goes on for several seasons, there's only there are things that have to happen. Don has to be very careful about the horrible things he's definitely going to do, and Megan has to put up with a lot. I think that's going to be the case because I think when you start because we started off with him being awful to her, right? Like with the birthday party and everything.
Yeah.
Where Don is, I'm the man, you're the woman, you do what I say. Betty knew her place. And I think, in the real world in those situations, people don't get better. They just, that part of them gets worse.
Yeah.
I'm unhappy with this aspect of your life. So it's just going to eat at me until it becomes a real thing.
Truly. And
he'll push her away.
We haven't seen any instance really of him being good to her.
No,
I mean, from the opening episode, nothing he hasn't been good to her once. I mean, he says nice things to her, and like obviously they can consummate, but that's it.
He just tells her how pretty she is.
That's it,
and she is.
He hasn't done anything for her.
No, not at all.
And it's sad.
Yeah,
it's really gross. Like this is probably the most down we've been on Don for a while. Like in the home life situation.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, like he's done terrible things in the past.
And it's interesting because he didn't actually do anything bad this episode. He was just sick and some old flame of his came up and talked to him. That really is it. He didn't really do anything, but he showed his cracks.
He really did. Sometimes your words are as strong as your actions. Real quick, let's celebrate the departure of Greg.
Yeah, I've always hated that guy. I've never liked seeing him back. I didn't like that he went ahead and I didn't like that they went ahead and got married. You know what I
hated
mean?
it. Yeah, you get why he's a doctor. He's financially stable. Not that should matter, but in the 1960s,
well, after what he did to Joan in the office,
so far out that door.
Right, but I think there's gray area,
Sure.
because the way those kind of attacks were looked at, between spouses or
it was common.
or fiancés, there wasn't really legal ground. You know what I mean? And if there wasn't legal ground, that's largely because there wasn't social ground for it, right?
Yeah,
he can't attack you. That can't be a violation because he's your fiance or he's your husband. That's the wifely duty, blah blah blah. And so I think the only reason that Joan put up with it until now was because that was just the world as it was.
Yeah.
Not that she thought it was okay. She never did. But because I feel like she would have been in a position to think that I don't have a right to be upset because women aren't supposed to be upset at this.
And it's I feel like throughout their whole relationship, Greg's constantly been on thin ice with her.
I think so too.
And it's interesting. This was the last straw.
Yeah.
She's like, all right, I already hate the fact that you're leaving. Now you volunteered to go.
Right.
Get out.
Yeah. And I'm glad that she's the one who was like, oh, we don't need you.
If it was his child,
right,
do you think that it'd be a different story?
Nope. No, I don't think so.
Well, I see. Because I think I agree with you. I really do.
Because I think she was planning on playing it off that it was,
Yeah.
So I don't think so. I think it was like she was perfectly okay with Greg raising that child as his own child.
Yeah.
She was completely fine with it. So I don't think it makes a difference. She didn't run off and say, Roger, let's get married.
Yeah.
It
is hilarious that neither one of her mother or him can do the math on that.
Right. Yeah. The mother confuses me more. Like, you're in some serious denial here.
Do you like the mother? Do you find it to be kind of middling and annoying? Because I think
no, she is, but I
think that's the point.
Right. Well, I think we see two mothers in this episode of the older generation.
Yeah.
And it's just the show highlights generational differences really well.
It does.
And an evolving, changing world in the 20th century. The 20th century was about change. Where we went into the 20th century to where we went out of it, the world changed an awful lot.
It's wild.
Socially. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And they're just a generation of, women are subservient to their husbands. And this is
to their fathers in some degree.
And to their fathers that here's your responsibility as a woman to what you're supposed to be in the world. We've said before that when it came to Betty and Sally, Betty suffered from some of that a little bit, right? I was pretty. I was raised to be a good wife. You're going to do the same thing. Let me slap you for cutting your hair.
Yeah, and even Gene had remorse over that at the end.
He did, right? Gene's like, we blew it raising you like this.
Yeah.
And he's right.
The grossest line of this episode, though, was, I think the highlights of that point is when Greg was like, I have my orders, you have yours.
Exactly. It was like, I'm the husband, shut up, I'm going to do what I say. Yeah. And that isn't Joan.
Joan's like, oh no.
Right?
Oh, no.
And maybe that was it. Maybe that was the last straw right there.
She's never like people what to do.
No, she's not the kind of person that is just going to be subservient to anybody.
Even at work.
Yeah.
She's like, I run things around here.
Like, she won't be subservient to Roger at work.
No.
She tells Roger where to go all the time.
Roger in her back pocket.
Yeah, I mean? Absolutely. Yeah. And Roger owns the company.
Yeah. Do you think, that something is going to escalate with her and Roger? Or do you think it's going to stay the same?
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like because she's had the kid and just went through this, I feel like there's a really good chance we're going to get a different Joni on the other side.
Sure.
A more independent one.
Yeah.
I don't know if because she dated a lot, before Greg, different guys, stuff like that, which is, she was a single woman, do your thing. But I don't know now that she's gone through this crap experience getting married and everything.
Yeah.
I don't see her running back into anybody's arms. I feel like this is more of a like when she said to Greg, "We don't need you." I feel like she's saying, "I don't need a man."
I got this.
Right? Like I got this. When good for her.
Well, I think obviously it's going to come out. I think because whenever she's inevitably going to return to the office, she's going to go back there. I would imagine so.
Well, I don't think she really left.
Yeah, she's on leave.
Yeah,
maternity leave.
Right.
I can see it I can see Roger at least because he knows the kid's his.
Sure.
I can see him being like, I want to take care of the kid and like
Right.
trying to like give her money and her just being
Oh,
like,
he should. I think he
I think
definitely
he should, but I don't know if she'll accept.
Yeah, that's true. No, I think financially, there better be a heck of a trust fund set up
Unless
for
she
that
knows
kid
that.
in Roger Sterling's name.
Unless she knows that. Unless she's like, his dad will take care of him.
I mean, really, Roger's a clown, but I don't think he's the kind of guy to be like, "Well, you had your kid. I'm off the hook. It's not mine." You know, so I do think that Roger will, regardless. I mean, he's rich. He's actually rich. The kid's gonna be fine.
He is full on comedic relief at this point now.
He
too.
is.
Like him sleuthing around the corner.
That was pretty funny, right?
Man, I like his role in the show at this point. It just being the funny guy.
For sure. And also, I also think that Joni's completely capable
Yeah, she's great.
of raising that kid completely on her own without anything from Roger too.
In many ways, she's the strongest character in the show. So I'd say her and Peggy.
Her and Peggy, right? You know, and that's why it was so easy early on to be kind of critical of Betty a little bit, because like, well,
you have these two strong women.
Yeah, it's like it's not like there's, you know, obviously they didn't have 3 kids and they weren't in this situation she was in, and they didn't have the upbringing that didn't allow them to really thrive.
Yes,
Joan and Peggy were brought up to like, you're gonna have to hoof for it a little bit.
Like they weren't put in a pedestal that
they were not.
On,
you know, they didn't grow up wealthy at all. It's like whatever you're gonna get, you're gonna work for it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they I think they're very strong. They're certainly stronger than, like, Joan is a lot stronger person than her mom.
I would say so. Yeah, for sure.
And I think Peggy's plenty strong too.
She's killing it right now.
Yeah, she is. I thought that's really sucked that she was worried about her money in her purse with Dawn there.
Just hustled her boss out of $400.
She did.
That's pretty sick.
Well, she did also tell Dawn, like, I have a whole lot of money here right now. You know what I mean? So maybe that's why the purse thing was like for her, because she had $400 in the purse.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it was anybody, I don't. You know, if it was anybody, I don't.
It was a lot of money. You know, for the time period, she had a couple of grand laying in the purse.
Sure, yeah.
I would be like, I'm gonna take my room because I have $4,000 here that I'm gonna go save up. Just so you know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like back in the day, they'd have like ATMs and whatnot. So after I leave work, I was at the ATM.
Why didn't she just do the smart thing and pick up the purse and get something else out of it? Like she was gonna naturally do it anyway.
Yeah,
like lipstick or a cigarette or something. Like, oh, well, I'm going to bed, and just carry the purse off the bed without making a thing out of it.
Exactly. I mean,
there was a cooler way to play that. I don't leave my wallet laying around where people are going to find it.
I'm also, before we wrap this up, I'm really glad the show doesn't address. It's not corny or like hard hitting with the race relations.
Right.
They do address it. I think they're probably going to dig a little deeper. Sure. But subtlety is key in the situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. There is no like
eye rolling. Like,
it doesn't get really pedantic, and we don't get hit over the head with any of these things.
With any of the issues, really.
It's subtle. Yeah. Pick up on it or don't. That's the audience's job. Again, this is a show that doesn't disrespect its audience by assuming they're dumb.
Yeah.
You'll pick up on it or you won't.
Yes, you will.
And so I like the fact that trust the audience to do that.
Yeah.
We'll catch you in the next one, guys.
See ya.